Hey, buddy, thanks for taking the time. I guess how much of a shock was this news, and when did you find out, and what's the direction going forward? A lot of
Well,
questions.
you know, Pat, I was given a little bit of a heads up by Desi through our conversations, over the past few weeks. Didn't ultimately know what was going to play out, but again, when you talk to someone and it's part of the conversation, when this happened, it didn't come as a total surprise. But moving forward, as far as it affects the Rockies, a spot opens up on our big league roster, and as we approach, opening day over the next 5 weeks, Desi's spot will be filled by someone. So it opens up a little competition for a number of players here in the short term, but we'll handle those decisions when we get there.
Go ahead, Thomas. Sorry, Thomas, go ahead.
Yeah, buddy. Good morning. Um, as I guess, as this was unfolding, when were you certain that he wasn't going to be with your club?
Well, again, I don't know the exact date, but I became aware from Desi that he was probably going to go this direction. Again, I think Jeff and I both, waited for Desi to come out officially, which it was today, to make this decision.
Okay, a couple of I guess things that I was thinking about on this. Did he express any reasons for this? I know they're better coming from him, but in his statement, he did say something about the conditions, playing under these conditions this year. Was that the protocol? Was that an issue, or what
Well,
was?
again, I think better question for Desi, Thomas. I can't speak for Desi. I think his statement, clarifies a lot of things from his end in a broader scope. To get more intimate details about his decision, it's probably best if it comes from him. But I think, like he said, a lot of it was, family-based decisions. A lot of it, is how the game is now and what we're going through. And I think there was just a number of factors that, when Desi does decide to speak, or if he does, he can probably explain a little bit more in detail his decision if he wants to. Right? This is a decision that he came to. Our conversations were a little bit more detailed about certain things about how he felt. But I think his statement summed it up pretty well from his perspective, like I said, in a bigger perspective.
One question about a statement. He did say, "For now," he used that phrase, and he talked about continuing to train. So, from a roster standpoint, and what's happening, is the door still open for him to come back, whether it's before the season or during the season?
Yeah, I think so. I'm not sure how that all works as far as the administrative part of it through MLB, but I like that Desi said that he's going to continue to train, and I think he's going to assess what's going on in the game, and then we'll go from there. So, again, I think like anything as it relates to our sport, and we've heard it a thousand times, and I've said it, and other managers and head coaches. We'll take this situation day to day. We'll see how it all plays out, and we'll continue to do what we need to do here in Scottsdale.
And final one for me for right now, at least. You look at your roster. Jonathan Daza, out of options. He's got a chance. Brett Boswell. What do you see? Who are the guys you feel this opened a spot for?
Well, there's a couple guys you just named. I think Chris Owings, Sam Hilliard. Whether we decide to full time with Hampson in the outfield, we have some options to work through here the next 5.5 weeks to supplement Desi. But those probably 5 or 6 names come to the forefront.
Yeah, just one more. Ryan Vilade, how close is he to being ready for the major leagues?
Well, we're excited for Ryan long term. Last year was, like we've talked about, tough for a lot of guys because he had his at bats, in the alternate camp against our own pitchers in inter squad games. I think that, he's definitely on the radar as a guy who's nearing, the major leagues. We hope, right? We gotta see continued performance. I think he was scheduled to go to Double A this season. We'll see how that plays out here in the coming weeks and where he is. But I know that he had an outstanding instructional league. I saw him down there. He looked great. He is adapting to a new position, the outfield. He'll need repetitions there. We'll get him as many at-bats as possible here in spring training against, big league quality stuff. That should help him. But, I like where he is in his career. Let's just hope that, the minor league season can get underway as planned, and Ryan can get, his at-bats.
Patrick Saunders. Go ahead, Patrick.
Hey, buddy. Thank you for taking the time. First question for you regarding Ian. I think many of us have projected him to be perhaps a shared outfielder in left field with Tapia. Were we right in that projection? Was that probably the role that he was looking at?
Well, you never know how a season's going to play out, right? I think a lot of the season is performance-based. There would have to been a spring training, situation for all our players where they get at bats and perform. But, in a perfect world, I think, Desi was probably, on our team, fulfilling maybe a potential number of roles, whether it was, at first base, whether it was in left field, whether it was, a lot of at bats based on performance, whether it was a platoon situation. You just don't know. But I know how we all love projections, and that was one that could have played out, but also it couldn't have. He might have got over 500 at bats if he played well, like all players. So again, I think with that, that would have his role on the team would have played itself out.
Second question from me. If indeed this is the end of his Rockies career, would have been 3 years of the 5. In your opinion, buddy, what's Ian Desmond's legacy? What did he bring to the Rockies, and perhaps where did he come up short?
Yeah. Well, again, I think if you look at what Desi did prior to being a Rocky, his career numbers, and the expectation level of performance, he sort of met those. He met those projections. There's a couple 20 homer years. He hit near his career batting average. He stole some bases. He played the game with energy. He came here and we put him at first base, which was a new position for him. Then the next year we put him out in the outfield, and we put him in center field. We did some different things with Desi, but that showed his versatility as far as a ball player. I think more than anything, he brought a great deal of leadership and an energy level to each and every game that he played, which I'll always remember. If this is indeed the end, I'm not sure that's going to happen. I'm not closing that door at all. But again, he came to play and he came to win. He was a part of 2 playoff teams in 17 and 18, and he was a big part of that. I remember some big home runs, from Desi. Big home run against Robles in Citi Field, if you remember that one late in the game. I think a walk-off against Kirby Yates and the Padres. It was a big win for us. A lot of good things, we saw from Dez over the years. Some clutch hitting. I remember an opposite field home run to right field. That was a big hit for us. So you can go and track every game that he played, and he had an impact in every game. His base running, Patrick, I thought he ran the bases great. Set a great tone for our players. He got hurt that first year, out of camp with, the wrist injury. That set him back in 17, but he came back and was a contributor that year. So again, in my mind, I'll view Desi as a complete player, a consummate professional, a great teammate, leadership, great sounding board for the coaches and I. Did a lot of great things.
Going to leave a void in that clubhouse without him? Given
Well,
what you
yeah. I
said
mean,
about
I don't know whether void is somebody's got to fill it, right? I mean, that's part of the transition from season to season. That void will be filled, right? I think we have two great examples on position player side with Chuck and Trevor, and I think we're having some emergence of leadership coming from our pitching staff as well. Some guys who've been here now, so. There's always a transition to fill voids, and you hope that guys, take those opportunities to make an impact in other places besides their play on the field.
you, buddy.
You got it, Patrick.
Nick Groke, go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, buddy. In general, just generally speaking, what were your conversations with him like? Were they about family? Were they about baseball? Were they personal? And what was your position in it? Did you at all try to lobby him to return?
To answer the first part of that, yes, they're all of that. Desi and I had great conversations over the years. Probably more so about other things besides just the nuts and bolts of baseball. Which we had a number of those as well, which I enjoyed because he had a great creative mind when it came to baseball. But I understood right away where Desi was coming from, on the personal side, on the baseball side, on the life side. So and he was always open and very honest. You always knew where Desi stood, which is a great trait. Love that about Desi. I think with, of course I wanted him back. I told him so. But, I knew that this was a hard decision for him. I mean, this was, probably harder for him to come to this decision now than it was probably a year ago or last summer when, we transitioned into, what became our 60-game season, spring training in Denver, all that. This was much harder for Desi, I'm sure. But again, I think that, in his statement, he's opting out for now. And we'll see how this all transpires moving forward.
And then when you look for his replacement, do you need to fill his specific traits? Are you looking for specifically a right-hander? Do you want some power? Do you want somebody who can play first base and out?
Well, we're sort of just working through this now, but I think in the short term here, we'll evaluate the players that we have on our roster and the players we have here in big league camp. But there's some guys who are in camp that might step up and fill that spot. Like I said, whether it's Chris Owings, whether it's Connor Joe, whether it's Daza, Boswell, Hilliard, down the line of guys, and it might shift some guys, whether it's Greg Bird or C.J. Crone, whether that helps groupings of players. But the versatility that our group has, we'll be able to fill a spot and feel good about it as far as the flexibility that our big league club needs.
When I think you just answered this, but when we're talking about somebody who's a veteran leader type, carries weight in the clubhouse, can hit for a little bit of power, can play a little bit of outfield. I mean, is it at all possible that the door is open for Matt Kemp at all?
I think that there were some discussions early about Matt. Matt is a free agent, and his agents, I think, again, obviously would contact the Rockies, but that name has not come up in the last whenever we got this news about Desi.
Awesome, thank you, buddy.
Yep.
Go to Michael Spencer, CBS4. Michael, go ahead.
Hey, but I know you can't speak for Ian, but in your conversations with him, did he express any frustration with the organization or with his role in in
No.
the organization at all?
No, not at all. I mean, he's always been very positive about, his time here, right? He's a guy that we brought in to, to supplement the group that we had in 2017 and continue on through his tenure here. And he thought he did that, and he always kept a great outlook on the organization. He wanted to be a Rocky, and I don't think at any point that ever wavered.
I know the answer to this next one, but do you expect any other opt-outs?
Again, I don't know, Michael. I don't have the answer to that. There's, obviously, close to 2,000 players in spring training right now. So, I don't know how to answer that, but I don't know. I mean, my guess would be probably.
On your team specifically?
No, maybe. I mean, I doubt it. I'm going to say that's on the NFL. What is it? Questionable, probable, doubtful. I'm going to say doubtful.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Trace Rigglesby, Trace, go ahead.
Yeah, buddy, one thing I think people sometimes overlook is that, I mean, he's not playing, but between last year with the prorated salary and this year, he's also walking away from $13.5 million. It's not like he's just walking away from your team. I mean, that's a factor too of how committed he is, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think, again, this is, I mean, you got it. I mean, he's doing this for, the right reasons. And I think he can probably, be pretty specific and clear, when he talks, or if he does. Again, I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but, this was, a decision not about money, which is, this was from the heart, and from his stomach. This was hard. This was agonizing for him.
The other thing is, I mean, you've been on teams and around guys like McCray, right? And people can say, I mean, he definitely was a leader in your clubhouse when he was there, even though the critics never really saw that part of him. It's not necessarily that easy for someone to step in and fill in that role.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's, leadership is, so much about, just the individual person and who they are naturally. He was a guy that naturally had those qualities. Anybody in a work environment who works very closely with others on a daily basis, you cannot fake leadership. You cannot fake, personality. And again, it happens organically when players emerge, and it can happen, at any given moment. It could be a situation that, can galvanize a player, or something can be. Something can happen in a moment that sort of crystallizes a player to, wow, there's a moment that maybe a guy turns that corner and becomes that guy, but it can't be forced. But I suspect that in the coming years, there's going to be some guys on this roster, some guys here in camp who are going to sort of fulfill those leadership roles that. That guys here over the last 4 years have, and that's the nature of professional sports and the movement, from team to team that goes through with players. I mean, it happens in all sports, and our team is quite a bit different than it was in 17 with when we had Cargo, who in his own way was a quiet leader for even some of the other guys who were here. DJ had a great quiet leadership to him. But then again, Trevor was only a year into his career, and he's way different now as far as his stature on the team. And same with Chuck and Kyle. It's coming from different places now. So that's just the nature of professional sports.
Sir?
Go back to Thomas Harding for the last questions here. Thomas?
Yes, Ian being a really interesting fellow, some of us, I guess, are surprised at the decision because, he was part of the text group that we've heard about, guys trying to keep everybody in the loop here. But did you see that as strange, or did you see that as just, Ian's a complicated fellow, and he kind of has his own ways.
I don't quite understand the question. I don't know.
said,
I don't know what you
does
mean
the
by. I don't know, Thomas. I don't know what you mean by strange, but
Yeah.
maybe.
Was it odd
maybe
that he was part of a text group trying to, make sure that guys didn't lose their concentration when Nolan was traded, and then, but he was also really considering not playing.
yeah, I think it just shows how much he cared about the team and the players. That that trade probably buckled some guys, but here again he probably said him and Trev and Charlie and other guys probably said, hey, we got to cinch our belt a little tighter and get after it. These things happen in sports, and that goes to show who he is and his commitment to the team. Again, he's gonna follow us, and he's gonna, like you said, he's gonna continue to train. He's gonna assess what's going on and maybe his feelings in a month, 2 months, 2 weeks, 2 days. Who knows? I don't know, but he's engaged. I mean, he's he has not. He has not obviously from those conversations with his teammates checked out. In his engagement with his teammates, or with me, or the front office, or Dick.
And what parts of the protocols that are getting you guys on the field this year, what parts are you hearing, or whether it's from your coaches, players, that are concerning to people in baseball right now?
I don't think there's any. They're the same that were in place last year. So we're conditioned for those. So I don't think there's anything that is new this year, Thomas, that is taking any of us by surprise that guys are talking about. There's nothing really different than what we're going through on a daily basis.
Thank you, buddy.
Unless you know something that I don't.
I don't know something that you don't. It's just that, the part about the conditions that you're playing under, that was what kind of sparked that question.
Oh, no, they're the same conditions. They're the same conditions last year.
Okay. Thank you.
You got it.
All right, thank you, buddy.
Okay, guys.
Thank you
Thanks.
everyone for hopping on back in Denver.